the art and science of doing less and achieving more. Multitasking, an effective solution? With the introduction of various technologies into our everyday lives, multitasking has become a normal feature of our busy days. Doing more tasks ought to mean that we get more done, but does it really? Take an example from a typical day at my job. Last week, during a meeting, I decided to send a quick email to a client. A minute later, I had to send another email with the attachment that I had forgotten. In my third email to him, I had to apologize for sending the wrong attachment. When I eventually focused on the meeting, I realized someone was asking me a question, but because I wasn't paying attention, I couldn't answer it and I had to ask him to repeat it. I know, that was embarrassing. Does it sound familiar to you? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. Research shows that when we multitask, we are actually playing a trick on ourselves. We think that we're doing more, but actually we're not. In fact, multitasking can lead to a 40% drop in productivity. Researchers say that we don't really multitask at all, we just switch tasks. And when we switch from one thing to another, we're simply interrupting ourselves to do something else. I did some thinking about it and I decided to do some research for myself. For 1 week, I will make an effort not to multitask at all. During that week, I discovered 2 surprising things. First, I made great progress on challenging projects. I stayed with each project even when it got hard, and it really made a difference. Now I no longer avoid tough assignments. I don't get distracted by other things, and I finish one job before I go into the other, even if the job is driving me crazy. Second, my stress levels drop dramatically. Research shows that multitasking isn't just inefficient, but also stressful, and I found that to be true. It was actually a relief to finish one thing before going on to the next one. So how can we change our multitasking ways? First, get rid of any interruptions. I now know that when we're working, we should resist the temptation to check email and make sure that our phone is turned off. Second, set yourself a tight deadline. If you think that you have to give a presentation in 30 minutes, you might not want to answer that interrupting phone call. Single tasking to meet a tight deadline will also reduce your stress levels, as long as you meet them, of course. My experiment convinced me that I don't have to accept multitasking as a way of life. If you make up your mind to avoid distractions and concentrate on one job at a time, you really can achieve more.